All right, so tell me, what's your excuse? Because I hear so many people limit themselves with, I can't start an agency, I'm 14, I'm 15, I'm 16, or hey, I'm 55. I hear so many people limit themselves with, look, I can't start an agency, I live in this part of the world or this part of the world. Well, I thought I'd bring on Josh Gavin for today's student interview as an example that you really have no excuse. Now, for any of you guys that know my story a little more personally, you guys know that I actually started my agency. I signed my first agency client. I didn't even know that I had an agency at that point. August of 2016, so I was actually 16 years old at the time. Now, Josh started his agency when he was, I think in this interview, he says 15 years old. And he actually managed to scale his agency to $10,000 a month when he was 16. And actually, I think even before 16 at 15. And something that's very funny, you'll find out, he actually picked up a car long before he could even drive, which I found slightly amusing. But yeah, Josh is a great example of someone who took something that they saw as a disadvantage. And you guys are gonna see Josh refrained from cold calling simply because he was self-conscious. The fact that, his voice sounded a little too squeaky, a little too young, and he took that, he flipped it on its head and actually went out and became super proficient at cold messaging, and he made that his lane and his avenue to get clients. So I think there's a lot that you guys will take from this student interview, and yeah, with no further ado, I'll let it play. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another student interview. We are joined with, I always say that wrong, joined with. But anyways, we've got the man, the myth, the legend, Josh Gavin here. Dude, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, dude, I'm really excited to be here. It's always been a dream to do so and be able to share this with you and our story and whatnot. So it's big for me. I'm really excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, yeah, you are a shining example of the fact that age really is just a number.
Yeah,
I'd say I really started, I had my breakthrough year 2017 at the age of 17.
yeah,
That was really my breakthrough year. And, from there, kind of tried to go from strength to strength. But I was 17, dude. You killed it at the age of 15. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like I had some wins here and there, but
yeah,
nothing substantial. Like, I mean, we were just literally saying off camera, like how, there's certain things, especially when you're kind of earlier into your entrepreneurial journey, that you do where it's just kind of like, it's just such a funny story or a cool story to tell. It's not really a smart decision, but it might be a passion purchase or this or that. Like,
yeah,
Josh bought a Audi, bought a car at the age
yeah.
of 15 when he couldn't even drive it.
No, I couldn't. It was just sitting there. It just sat in the garage for a year and a half or so. Just sat there. And I just go look at it and be like, cool. Now what's
Would you
next?
just sit inside it, just visualize driving it?
Yeah, I can't. Cause I didn't have my license. Like I was so busy building my agency. I didn't take my class to get my license. I literally just sat in my basement all the time and just worked my butt off. And so I was just like, no, I can't, I don't have my license. And so I was like, I'm just gonna get my car. Like I remember I found it. I'm like, I'm buying. My parents like, what? You're 15? Like, what do you mean? I'm like, no, we're going to get it. Like I have the money. They're like, what? And then we just pull up like a couple days after Christmas, hand the cash over, and just like my dad drives it. Of course, he had to drive it home. I was sitting there like, yeah, this is my car. Don't get excited. So yeah.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and backtrack. Could you give everyone watching just a little bit context as to how you found the agency world, and
Yeah.
how long have you had an agency for now?
Yeah. So I found out about it when I was 14 years old. So I'm 17 now. I'm going to be 18 next month. So it's basically like 3 years ago, I guess. I don't know exactly, almost 3 to 4 years, I usually say. But I was one of those kids who thought I'd make millions of dollars selling drop shipping products, right? That's how I got into it. I'm like, yo, I'm going to sit and on Shopify. I'm going to sell cheap products. I'm going to make bank. All these gurus are making it look easy. I'm like, dope. But then getting into it, I wasn't making much money. I didn't enjoy it. I'm a very social person, like to be in front of things, like to be talking to people. I don't just like to sit behind my laptop all the time. So I was like, what's next? Like, what else can I do? And lo and behold, it was in that stage. all of a sudden that ad came up, the stupid ad with the money all around me. You know what I'm saying? That song, and that I was like, and I would skip it, right? I'm sorry, I'd be skipping that right away. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I kind of watch it because you got some like girl in the video, like twerking. And I'm like, okay, what is this about? You know what I'm saying? I was like, watch a little longer. And I was like, okay, who is this guy? He's living a dope life. And I was like, gosh, fine. I'm going to click this stupid ad. Like, I was still in the mindset. Like, I was like, this is so dumb. I was like, this is not, I don't like people like this. So I clicked the ad, and it's your YouTube channel. I think, I went to like, all right, I found you on YouTube. I didn't go to like your webinar first or anything. And I started binge watching your videos. That's how I first started hearing about it. It was you're the first person, and I just started watching your videos. And I didn't watch your webinar though, which is funny. I just went right into just watching all your videos.
I think at that
binge
point,
watching all that. So that's how I heard about that.
Do you remember at what point you saw that ad? Because I think it would have been beginning of 2018.
Yeah, it was probably, it had to have been around there. I don't have the exact date.
So I don't think I even released any webinar or free training or anything at that point.
Okay. Was it just your YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Or I don't even know. I think went to your YouTube channel right after that.
Nice hoodie, by the way.
Oh yeah, this thing's so comfy, and the hood, dude. I don't know. The hood is something different. It's different, man. I wear this all the time. Friends like, why are you always wearing that? I'm like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's comfy. You know what I'm saying? So.
Awesome. So you saw the ad, and by the way, for anyone who genuinely believes I have that ad, like I look at that video and I'm like, I look like a cunt. Excuse my French, but like I look at that and I cringe myself, and I am in I like, guys, I have a lot of self-awareness. Like I have the self-awareness to know that video is a very it's just a very bad representation of my intellect, of me as a person. Like, don't get me wrong, like you guys know, like, you know, I will definitely party, I'll have fun, like, you know, but it's also, those aren't really the things that are important to me in life. No. But hey, you know, if I genuinely from the bottom of my heart, I would love to release a video, which is just me shooting with my iPhone and being like, hey, here's 7 reflections on 2019. And 7 reflections I have. Like, it's like, guys, like at the end of the day, if I have to make an ad that is the cringiest thing on earth, in order for someone to be, you know, in order for someone to be like, either, oh wow, that's actually super interesting. So it's very polarizing. It's either like, oh, fuck this guy, let me find out more. Fuck this guy, let me look at more evidence to support the fact that this guy's a piece of shit. or it's like, oh my god, this guy's like really interesting, and like, it's cool, that's a cool life, and this and that. Let me go find more evidence to support that. So either way, they kind of, I'd say 95% of people come to the conclusion, I'm like, oh, okay, like it was more of a hypey video, like, you know, he has a lot more to value. And then the other 5% always just think I'm a dummy, and, you know, I think in large fact they're pretty accurate. So
and if I didn't see that ad, I wouldn't have started my agency, and I wouldn't be where I'm today. So I look at that, I'm like, if it has a small chance to benefit someone's life and change it, like, it's like, why wouldn't you run that? Why wouldn't you put that out there? Like, yeah, someone may not like you, but you're risking the chance of not changing someone's life like mine. And so when I look at what I'm doing now, I think that same way. It's like, you can't limit yourself like that. So, I mean, it was a pretty stupid ad, but I'm not complaining now.
So yeah, but at the end of the day, this interview is about you. It's not about me. So you saw the ad, you saw the legendary ad, and then after that, how long at that point were you running your e-commerce business?
Yeah, so I was like, I had some stores or whatever. I mean, running it, whatever you want to call that. I was trying to. I had some plans, and I remember I was still kind of keeping that just in case. But I was like, okay, I should start selling a service, because I got a general understanding. Like, I didn't know much about how to sell it, how to package it, or like my agency. I just knew you could sell services and people would pay you. And I experienced e-commerce, right? So I knew generally about Facebook ads and website development. So I was like, maybe I could start there or whatever. And so I was still running at the same time. But it's funny because literally just 4 days of watching your content. I remember it was 4 days. Like, I always tell people this when they ask me, like, how'd you get your first client? How'd you get started? 4 days of watch your videos, just getting understanding. I just went out on Fiverr and I created like a gig like, I don't know, it was like $20 gig, right? I don't know what I was saying. It was like $20 and I would do like their marketing, like our social media management. But I got a lead from it, from that gig, like 4 days later. But I ended up closing him for $400 for the month, which I don't know how it happened. But we got on the phone and he's like, "So how much you charge?" And I was like, $400. I don't know what I was saying. I didn't even know what to
That's
do. I
so
didn't even know
funny.
what I was doing.
That's so funny. That's the exact amount. How old were you at this point?
I was just almost turning 15. I was like just about, I think I was
Yeah.
15 or just turned 15.
Damn, dude, you beat me by like a year and a half because
Yeah.
I signed my first client when I was like 16. I would have been 16 in
Okay.
8 months. For me, it's really easy because my birthday is 3rd of January
Yeah.
2000, so it's like super easy to
Oh, there
find
you go.
out dates. But like I was 16 years old in 8 months, and my first client was actually $400. It was
That's
300
crazy.
pounds, which I think converts to $375.
Yeah.
Except
That's
I was
crazy.
an idiot compared to you, like because I was doing 30 Instagram posts, 30 Facebook posts,
Oh
and
my
4
gosh.
YouTube videos, and I was curating all the content myself. So it wasn't even like I was doing distribution. It was like I was
Yeah.
creating
That's,
content, editing it, all that stuff. But anyways, yeah. So that's how you got your
yeah.
first client.
Yeah, it was literally 4 days after. And I remember like I got on my PayPal and it held. It was funny because PayPal held my money for a whole month, which sucked. But I remember I was like, holy crap, I literally just made like $400. And like all I have to do is like, I don't even know. I was like posting his stuff on his Facebook or whatever. And I think I helped a little bit with designing stuff. But the client was pretty bad too. It was a bad client overall, but I still made the money and I was like, I got that first start. And that was how I first got my client. And so it was kind of funny because like right off the bat, it was never like I had months where I wasn't landing clients. They were just smaller ticket, but like it helped me stay motivated and like knew that it'd work. And over time, I built that up. But yeah, it was just like watching videos. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I just jumped in. I didn't have your course
Mm.
yet. I didn't have any of that. I just watched your videos and just sent it and learned as I went. That really helped me. So that's how I got my first client. That's how I got the agency space, and that's how it all got started. It's that awful client for $400.
So from there, I think at that point, from that point, there's still an 18-month gap. So do you want to run me through kind of how you
Yeah,
progress from? Have you stuck with volume but low ticket clients? Have you shifted and have you
yeah,
pivoted? And are you going for high ticket clients? What sort of clients are you going for now?
yeah,
And then also the thing that I really liked people to touch on is, for example, with me, with my agency, there was 2 or 3, I'd say probably 3 pivotal points where I looked at things and I was like, I can't get to where I want to get to doing things
yeah.
this way, whether that be the service I was delivering, the niche I was working with. So if you could also talk about the ways in which you pivoted your
Yeah.
agency and why you made those decisions.
Yeah. So after working with that first client, I was doing e-commerce and I was always on Facebook in those Facebook groups, right? And I was always really present in them, just sharing advice. I just really liked it. I wasn't doing it for any benefit or gain, but I started getting inbound leads that wanted me to help with their stores or coach them or give them advice. And since I knew a little bit more than the person that was up behind me, but not as much as the person ahead of me, I still had that level of positioning to help these people. And so I transitioned into first helping e-commerce stores at a low ticket level. I mean, it was pretty bad. I was charging like, I remember I did like $97 a month to like run a guy's ads and everything. And I ended up getting all his ad accounts banned and just shut down, and it was pretty bad. But I didn't know what I was doing, but I just learned as I went. So I learned how to like not get ad accounts banned. It was stressful, but that's how I got started. So I was doing that. And I had this limiting belief though, that I couldn't get clients that were local businesses or are higher ticket until I can drive and go to meetings or cold call when I sounded older. Cause I was just like a little screechy voice kid, right? I was like 15, 14. Like I was still
Mm.
going through puberty. I was a little scrub, right? And so I had this limiting belief that I couldn't do that. So I kept telling myself when I turned 16, like I'm gonna kill it, like 6 figures. Like I was like, oh, I got time. But I realized I was just working these awful clients, and I was like, this sucks. Like I'm not happy. I don't really enjoy it. It's not like I need to be making more. We were getting better clients, and so I just decided to say screw it and find a way around it. And I started going after local businesses, and instead of cold calling or going to the actual meetings, which nobody really does anymore, honestly. But I started cold messaging them and cold emailing them and really building my brand on Facebook, which I now call profile funnel, to show that they could trust me and pay for my stuff. Right. So
So
I just went through this.
one thing that I want to touch on there
Yeah.
is the main reason that you decided that you were going to go all in on cold messaging and
Yeah.
cold email, basically leading people through the sales process
Yeah.
primarily with written word, was because of your insecurity about your
Yeah.
voice.
Exactly. And yeah, and my
I
age or
I
all
think
that.
that's so important to note, because a
Yeah.
lot of people out there are they're like, oh, I can't do cold calling because maybe I
Yeah.
sound a little foreign or this or that, or hey, I can't do this outreach method, this. And that's why there's 101 different ways to get
Oh yeah.
clients. And that's
Oh
fine.
yeah.
If if cold calling, like for example, to give you a perfect example, Esteban, who used to do Esteban used to be my sales guy. He used to be my not sales guy, appointment setter. And
Yeah.
Esteban, like for example, like because clients wouldn't ask, obviously prospective clients wouldn't ask. Esteban would just not say he was me. Like if they asked, "What's your name?"
Yeah.
Obviously he'd say Esteban, but he would just be like,
That's awesome.
basically he'd pretend to be me. And
Yeah.
it worked fine. I remember there was this one time though, there was this ballet studio, because I used to work with gyms only. Gyms are like fitness studios. For some
Yeah.
reason, we expanded
Yeah.
our audience to ballet. And I remember one time he was making these cold calls, and I was doing a YouTube live at the time, and he was like, "Yeah, my name is Iman Gadzhi, blah blah blah, this that." And she'd be like, "You're not Iman Gadzhi. Iman Gadzhi's on a live stream right now." and and
That's
and
awesome.
because she looked me up, and Esteban's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yes, my name is Esteban. I work at IAG Media, blah blah blah." And then he actually had to go
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
physically to the meeting with me. So I remember that was a very funny instance. But anyways, my point is,
Dang, that's
Esteban,
fun.
Esteban, I love the guy. He can set, he can cold call and set meetings for days.
Yeah.
You try to get him to do write cold emails or cold messages, or falls apart. Writes like
Really?
he'll say it himself. Writes like a 12-year-old. You know what I mean? So
That's
like,
awesome.
so you gotta find your thing, and a lot of time your
Oh yeah.
weakness mirror that, and that'll probably be your strength. And that's really what I
Oh yeah.
like about your story, is the fact that a lot of people would have been in your situation. They're like, okay, they won't take me seriously, but you found a lane that you could excel in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. And I was like, dude, there's no reason. Like, I just had this mindset, like, what do I have to lose? Like, all I'm doing is delaying my success. And I was like, I want to make 6 figures before I turn 16. Like, I wanted to be able to say that. And that was my goal. And I was like, I'm going to get that stupid whale, or I'm going to just be able to say I'm in that club. Not stupid whale, sorry. Just like, that was the
Yeah.
thing. Like, I mean, it's just a statue. Like, but like, that was my goal. Like, you're like, why do you want that statue? It's like, well, it means more than that. But like, that was my
Mm.
thing. And so I was like, I got to make that happen. And so I went all in with cold messaging, just like no one knew my age. I just started acting more mature, just like reach out to local businesses. And so we worked with like realtors, some like bouncy house businesses. That was big for me. I was big in the party rental niche, super easy to get leads, high ticket. I mean, those bouncy houses like 500,000. So that was really good niche. Everyone wants to get into that. I talked to a ton of agency owners. No one's really doing that. I was like the only one. And so there you go, a little nugget for anybody who's watching that.
Mm.
But I did party rental. And so we started selling like $1,000 packages, right? So we're at 1,000. And we did that for a while. I was like around this time when I started switching over, I was making about $5,000 a month. When I started working with local businesses, when I started doing all cold messaging, and I was
Mhm.
like 15 and a half. So I
Mhm.
wasn't 16 yet. And at that time, I decided I would actually invest in your program, because it was funny. I wasn't in it right away. I was just watching YouTube videos because I was kind of stuck up, and I'm like, I don't need to invest in myself. I can figure this out. But I couldn't break past that 5K. I was still stuck there, and I was like, this is so hard. Like it's not working. And so I'm like, there's some like secrets in the 6-figure
Mhm.
SMMA course, or even just being in the community. So I got in it. And at that point, just learning the stuff in there and pulling different tactics and the systems and whatnot, that was the big turning point. Actually, that's when I was able to, make 6 figures and get to that point right before I turned 16. It was like right before. And so that's kind of off topic. That's kind of like the turning point. But that was kind of funny. Like I was like, I'm gonna invest in myself, and then that was the big turning point. But you talked about pivotal points and looking at what I was doing. This happened more so recently, actually. I know I'm kind of ranting a little bit, but this
No,
happened.
no, no, no.
Big point.
This is perfect. This is perfect.
Okay,
This is exactly what I love to get from these interviews, because as I
got
said,
it.
I think as business owners we all have that. You know, if you're actually doing some of your business, you're not a
Yeah,
person who's just trying to have all your ducks in a row and then go ahead. If you're someone who's
yeah,
actually taking action and you're learning and you're seeing you're seeing you I think business owners start to understand scale, and they start to understand leverage, and they
yeah,
start to see where the bottlenecks are, and that, to me, that's what I find
yeah,
so interesting. Is, as I said, when you have that, because I don't know, it's hard to describe. I think everyone here who
yeah,
actually is in business, and as I said, even if you've got your one or two clients, and who has an agency,
yeah,
has that moment where they look in front, and it's just like I
yeah,
compare it to, like, that Gatsby, the scene from
yeah,
Great Gatsby, where he's just on that pier and like looking out, and like I love
yeah,
moments like
yeah.
that where as I said, you're like, okay, I've pushed this to the limit, and then now I have to pivot this way. So keep
Yeah.
rambling.
Yeah, yeah. So I was making like 5K, right? And I went to 8,500 about I was sitting at.
Mhm.
So I got to like some 10K, went back down, very inconsistent. Just like it's kind of hard to push past that like 6 figure a year mark at that time. And so
Mhm.
now we're
Yeah, I
past that.
remember
I'm six.
I remember when you applied. And by the way, as far as I know, we're the only education company out there that actually makes students verify the fact that they're
Yeah,
making
that's
the amount
awesome.
that they're making. So I remember when you applied for Six Figure Club, I think the application, I think the evidence that was put forward totaled to around 9,500. So.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So
Mhm.
it was like, it's kind of getting there, but it was just kind of like,
Mhm.
I was like scrambling to make that. I was kind of like, oh gosh, like there wasn't a system. Like I said, like
Mhm.
even up until now, I was just kind of like push, 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 like imperfect action, which is works well with me. But if you're trying to run a professional business and
Mhm.
everything, a lot of things come up to catch you and whatever. But yeah, so I was like 16 years old then, a year ago, right? And I was running ads for local businesses, and whatever. I started doing like consulting too. I'd always been against like becoming like a guru or a coach or
Mhm.
consultant. We can talk about that later, but I started doing that as well. Um, but I just didn't really like it. I didn't really like running ads. I didn't like logging into Ad Manager. I didn't like outsourcing it and dealing with people and still talking about ads, like just all that. I didn't really like. But I liked selling. I liked reaching out to clients. I enjoyed that aspect. And so I tried outsourcing. I tried to, get someone to do my ads because, like, oh, yeah, if you don't like it,
Mhm.
well, I understand it. Let me just outsource it. But even then, I just didn't enjoy it. Like, I didn't like wake up in the morning and being like, oh, I'm a Facebook ad agency, or like, there wasn't
Yeah.
much pride to it, right? And with the clients we're working with. And so, yeah, I didn't really like it. And so I did that though. I pushed through it for like the rest of the year. But just about it was like November last year, right? So I was still 16, or oh no, shoot. So I was 16, I started doing it, turned 17. Oh my God, I'm so confused. It's so annoying what my birthday is. I don't know. But yeah, so it was like, we did that for like a year and a half, almost 2 years at 16, just kept pushing through, doing local ads. But then just last November in October, I realized I didn't want to do anymore. And like in the summer, it kind of happened in the summer, I was thinking about it. I was like, I don't really like what I'm doing. Is there a different service I can sell? Is there fine? I looked into what I was doing in a whole, and I was like, what part do I enjoy? What part do I wake up excited to do when I get in my laptop? And that part was kind of hard. Like that was one of the pivotal points. Like I looked and I was like, first I got to figure out what I like to do before I even think about scaling. So I sat down and like this took like a couple months of the summer to like figure this out. And it was hard because I wasn't making as much money then because I stopped selling. I was stuck in like the mental mind state of trying to figure out where I wanted to go. But after doing so, I realized I like writing. I mean, I did cold messaging, I did cold emailing.
Mhm.
I was always on my phone. That's what I did. That's what I taught. And so I was like, I like writing. I like writing ads. I like building the funnels. And I was like, dude, why don't I do copywriting? Like, I like doing that. I know you do
Mhm.
too. Like, you're an awesome copywriter. I feel like you can relate. Like, I feel like you enjoy it.
Mhm.
I feel like that's a big part you do in your business
What,
too.
I'm gonna let you explain your service a little more, and then I'm gonna tell
Yeah.
people about, in my opinion, what I think is the most
Oh yeah.
slept on service out there.
And
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about your service, about copywriting specifically. Is that a one-off
Yeah.
fee, or
So
is that a monthly thing you do?
It depends. So it's always custom to our clients because some need like a funnel, some need like a sales page, and then they need like emails. And so then it would be like a one-off payment with rev share because I need to be testing it. So I'm making money because I don't want to go back in and work on it. And so I'm just like, I'll do like 3 to 5%, sometimes 10 off the total sales that funnel makes. And all I have to do is just make sure the funnel's working well and whatnot. And that's kind of, we've been figuring that out, but sometimes it's one-off, sometimes it's emails. And so like our first client, when I decided to do this, it was funny. I made the decision, like we're doing copywriting. I'm like, okay, who do we want to work with? And then I see Dan Henry talk about he needed a copywriter, and he posted it somewhere. And I was like, oh, dude, Dan Henry is copywriter. I'm like, sure, I could do it. I'd never done copywriting before. Are you kidding me? Like I've done it for myself. I have my own education. Like I did it, but I wasn't a professional. But I still messaged him. And since I was doing cold messaging, that's what I knew. That's what I was the best at. And that's what I taught, like the cold messaging kings, that was our brand. And so I cold messaged him. I just put everything I taught to work. And yeah, now we're writing all his emails for him, his webinar email sequences we've written, any emails you get in your inbox, that's me. And so, yeah, first client we landed after making the decision was 2X, now he's 2X or 8-figure club, comma. And so I was like, all right, if I can get Dan Henry off the bat, all my clients are going to be at this level. And so a week later, we wrote some emails for another 2 Comma Club member, and then some other people that are in the 7-figure mark, like Bobby, he's in your group, the Asian guy, I call him that, he's fine with it, but
Bobby Kim,
yeah, Bobby Kim, yeah, I wrote some of his ad copy for some, so like that's what we got into. And so I was doing emails and like whatever, just because that's what I knew. And now we switched into doing sales funnels as well and design, because I sat down and started building out tons of funnels and mastering the design aspect of it. So that's what my service looks like. And it was just like that. Agency, we got amazing clients. Like if I go to anybody and I tell them who I write copy for, it's kind of like, it's kind of too easy. It's kind of cheap. It's like, okay, why wouldn't I let you write my stuff? But I'm kind of lucky. It was kind of straight luck and just like the right timing. But that's kind of what our service looks like now.
Yeah, that's very, very good to hear. Very interesting to hear. As I said, what you'll notice is there's two very pivotal points that I pick up on. As I said, that first point where you took what you saw as a disadvantage, turned it around, and you didn't try to you didn't try to do some exercises to get a deeper voice or just that. You're just like, fuck this thing. Like that's not where my that's not where my competitive advantage is. Instead, I'm going to go to this thing and just master that. And obviously that was the art of, that was the art of copywriting. At that point, it was the art of copywriting in order to take people down the sales process and sell the meeting.
Exactly.
And you got really good at copywriting that way. And the second pivot was you just realized you don't fucking like ads. Like, for example, like I love ads. Like I love ads, and then my team loves ads, and like Danny fucking eats, sleeps, and this is one of the things I say always on onboarding calls to break the ice. Is the first thing I ever say is, oh, this is Danny. He's full-time. He's been full-time with me for almost 2 years now. And I go, this is Danny. He literally eats, sleeps, and shits Facebook ads. Like the guy does nothing else. The guy does nothing else except for that. So, that's like our agency, but you had the self-awareness to know that, look, to be honest, like I don't like having an advertising agency. That doesn't make me happy. And then you pivoted your service, based on what made you excited, what made you passionate. And as I said, also where your competitive advantage is, because people always ask, what niche should I be in and what service should I deliver? And I always ask, I'm like, I always tell them 2 questions. What am I passionate about? And what do I have a competitive advantage in? If they have something they're really passionate about, then just do that. And nothing that they have a competitive advantage in. If they are passionate about something and then they also have another thing that they have a competitive advantage in, I'm gonna go for the competitive advantage. Like our competitive advantage is the fact that, I have GrowYourAgency. I have a very, very successful, I have a very, very successful education company that's on multi seven figures. So of course it's fucking easy for us to go out and get info product clients and get e-commerce clients.
Yeah.
That's our that's our competitive advantage. So I love that. And going back to before I asked you to explain your service a little more, in my opinion, one of the most slept on services is doing email marketing for info product owners, for coaches, consultants, and e-commerce owners as well. Because
e-commerce for sure.
The thing is, most people, like for example, in 2019, I started writing emails. After I had tons of people shouting at me, I had tons of people shouting at me to do emails, and it was something that like I was like, I don't know this, that. And yes, granted, it takes me every Sunday morning, it takes me 3 hours to write now I'm writing 4 emails a week for Grow Your Agency. So it takes me 3 hours to write the Grow Your Agency emails, and it takes me another 1 hour to write the 2 IAG Media emails I write. Ooh, yeah. I think
I'm still there. My DSLR is glitching out.
Yeah. All right. Granted, it takes me 3 hours to write, my Grow Your Agency emails, and then an hour to write the IAG Media emails.
Yeah.
I keep those ones a little more punchy. But like the thing is that there's top line revenue and then there's bottom line. So for example, for me, let's say just hypothetically, I'm charging a client £2,000 a month for Facebook ads, right? I'm charging £2,000 a month for Facebook ads. We're spending money on ads. Let's say we spend 5,000, and let's just say hypothetically it's an info product business, so 100% margin. So we're spending 5K. So if we're spending 5K, we need to make them 10K for them to end up with 5 at the end. Whereas as a copywriter, you only need to make them 5K rev because there's no cost associated to it. So for me, like I know bottom line, because I'm paying for those leads anyways through Facebook and Google ads. I know bottom line in Grow Your Agency, as I said, bottom line, not top line revenue, bottom line. I probably pulled in an extra, I think we have it inside Infusionsoft, the report actually. But we probably should have been a little better on the tracking. Infusionsoft is such a nightmare, but around close to a quarter mil, close to a quarter mil to 350. We're still trying to figure out quarter mil to 350,000 bottom line just from emails, And the thing is, like, for me, it's a very personal, like, I think it's no secret that I love copywriting. I actually said this yesterday. I appreciate it. I actually said this yesterday somewhere I said it in an interview. I was getting interviewed by this person who has this Facebook group. Sometimes I just forget things that happen in my life. But the way I really started getting like properly serious about copywriting was, first of all, not many people know this about me, but I actually used to write a lot of poetry when I was 15 years old.
Really?
So I like to write. Really? Yeah, I wrote a lot of poetry. So who knows? Maybe I'll release the secret archives one day. But if you guys want to see how I wrote copy at the age of 14, go look online, go on Instagram, and go FCUK the norm, FCUK the norm. That was my Instagram page. I sold that page because once again, I think people know that I used to buy and sell Instagram pages. But if you look, I think it's summer of 2015. Anything before that, I think there's like 300 posts, and every single thing on there is me writing, and they're like this long. So I used to, and once again, and that was just a creative outlet. That was a creative outlet for me. But that brings me back to my point, which is, look, for me, emails are an important thing for me to write. And obviously, it's no secret that I'm passionate about it. But for example, you got a client, Dan Henry. For example, with Dan Henry, he's happy to let that go to someone else.
Oh, for sure.
It's so simple, because because once again, the company, my education company is GrowYourAgency.com, not Grow Your Advertising Agency. It's Grow Your Agency. And we have people in there who are doing email marketing, who have creative agencies, who have advertising agencies, who have SEO agencies. As I said, I think email is so slept on, because for me, I would be more than happy to take on a client and do a 25% rev share, no minimum retainer, and then just do like a 3 or 6 month minimum. Because once again, even if you make them $2,000, like whatever, like there's no way you could not make money. Because I said, they've already accumulated those leads. Those leads are warm. They must have gotten them somehow. So all in all, I think, it's a very easily sell. Because once again, even if you're charging someone $2,000 a month, all you have to do is make them $4,000 a month.
Yeah, that's it. It's
And they're 2xing their money. And they don't have to put any money on the line because it's already there. So yeah, just a little side note. I think that's something that's very underslept on. I think a lot of people need to look at other ways. Like, for example, there was one of my buddies, Kevin. He does some intellectual property. He helps info owners with like intellectual property theft and stuff like that, with takedowns, getting people's PayPal shut down, payment processors shut down, Facebook accounts, Instagram accounts shut down.
Okay.
And like I literally gave him this advice February of 2019. I'm like, dude, build an agency out of this, and he actually managed to scale to $15,000 a month profit doing that. So I think, I think in the next few years, I'd love to see a lot more people get more creative with what services they offer.
Exactly. That's so true.
Because the thing is, you quite clearly have applied the principles in Agency Incubator, which is they can be replicated across any sort of industry. Obviously in Agency Incubator, the service delivery aspect of it, I teach only advertising. Because, that's our bread and butter. But, I think it's just really cool to see you tap into something that I think is very, very slept on.
I think it is. And like copywriting, I've been telling, cause like we have a Facebook group with a lot of like agency owners, and I share my story there. And a lot of them are always like, they all sell the same darn thing. And this year I've been trying to like do my research myself and look at what other agencies are selling, what different services are out there, or like how you can make an irresistible offer, because so many people are just going to the same leads, they're hearing the same offer, the same script, the same pricing. There's nothing irresistible about it. And so, I mean, that's why it's like, ad agencies, it can work. You can sell Facebook ads, but even that, you have to have a creative way of like how you're doing it, or like, I don't know, there has to be something that makes it stand out to client. And there's different ways to do it. It could be in the way you talk, in the way you just show it to people or talk about it. But I think copywriting is like, it's so hard. Like, you can't really take a course and become a copywriter. It's very, very hard. You have to be creative. And I'm happy that over time, and sending cold messages, cold email, reading emails, reading ads, building my own funnels, that's how I became a good copywriter. I always have to grow. It's like working out. But it's not like I can go and outsource copywriting and get good results, because it's a creative skill. It's not really technical. But it's I think it's such a blue ocean. I mean, everyone needs it. It's crazy how many people will come to me.
You see, the thing is, if I was to have a agency, like if I was to do things again, I think I would actually have an email marketing agency. But I'd still outsource it. Like, how many broke writers do you know who would work full time for 2,000, 2,500 pounds?
Yeah, I've got like interns.
Legit. So I think, in my opinion, I think you can pretty much build, because the thing is, building a business is leverage. So either you get to a point where, for example, your time is worth a lot of money, or like you're charging enough that it's worth it. But like, I'd love to see you scale that to 30, 40,000 a month, and bring on a team. And like, for example, I understand if you're building a webinar for example, for me, same thing. When I do my 2-day webinar builds, 25,000 pounds, like, I'm doing all that copywriting myself. But, I would love to see you bring on, two email marketing specialists who write copy, and I'd love to see them manage 5 clients each, charging 2,500 each, and you pay them 3,500 a month. Tons of writers would be super happy with that, and you're netting 9,000 a month per person, and once again, you just got 2 of those. 20,000 a month profit, 18,000. You get the point. But anyways, I would, because I've still yet to find someone who has that email marketing agency that's doing like 30,000, 40,000 a month profit. I think there's so much potential there. I think there's so much. Like, I'm telling you guys right now, if I had to do it again, that's what I do. I'd love to see you take it there.
Yeah, that's definitely the plan. I mean, we want to. My goal, and it's just kind of like the whole thing, like how I got the car. Like, it's not really a smart purchase, but it's kind of just be like, oh, I'm making enough money where I can get it, and it's not going to really kill me or make me homeless, right? And my goal with this whole agency is like, I want to have like a physical office with like some employees there, just because like it's my dream to like have a team, a physical team, and like make a fun environment. And like, I'm a leader, I know that's my role, and so that's what we want to do. Like, we want to have like a physical location with some contractors or employees but of course have a lot of people that are just doing it online. So I don't have a lot of overhead, but like, that's definitely the goal. And our mission is basically to just write copy for every 2 Comma Club member. Like, I want everyone to be like, oh yeah, do you have that young little kid writing your copy? It's like, oh yeah, I do. Like, you know, like everyone at the funnel hacking, like I want, like, that's our goal. Like I want it to be like a thing where Russell's like, dude, come in and write our copy. That's like my goal. So that's where we're definitely gonna take it. And yeah, we're gonna need a team. I mean, I'm big on outsourcing. I'm just very, very picky too, because when I'm writing something, I see it one way and then someone else's. I mean, I just have to get over myself, you know, because like it's gonna be different. But yeah, that's kind of the plan with that.
Awesome. So you're 18 now, right?
Going to be next month.
So you're still 17.
Yeah, I'm still 17.
17, and kind of over the past 3 months, your average monthly profit is where?
Yeah, it's about 10,000. It goes up and down depending on our education, because we have like education for our agency. It's still about that 8,005 around there. Just with like all the one-off projects, we haven't got many retainers because we like totally dropped our clients and built back up. And then our education it was at 10K when we had it going, and then we redid our whole program, but we're going to get back up to that. And so I want to be sitting at like, you know, my agency right now, I want it to be consistently making us 10,000 to 20,000 plus. And then our education, I'm not like trying to make freaking 7 figures off it, but I do want that to be profiting at like 10,000. So that's the goal for this year. It's just like we cut off all our local business clients in November or whatever, revamping. It's actually pretty stressful, and it's a little scary, but I know I can make it work. Like I made it work before. And so you'll see. It's pretty crazy.
It's
that's
so
kind
nuts.
of where we're at right now.
I literally, the last interview I did was with a guy called Kendall Shaw. And
oh yeah. I know him.
Yeah. So I interviewed Kendall, and like, you know, he's doing 25,000 a month now, and like, it's nuts because like I even said the same thing to him. I was like, a constant theme is just agency owners scaling, getting to like a good number, 10, 15, 20, 30,000 a month, and then having to take 2 steps back in order to take 5 steps forward, and kind of like break everything apart. Because the thing is, a lot of people build based off of very janky foundations. So they have to like kind of build, tear everything apart to come back even stronger. So it's just so funny to see another example of that happening.
Yeah. And it can be scary. It's like, in that time, you could lose money, you could lose clients. It's like a new routine, and you can get worried. You're like, oh, this is hard. But you have to remember, like, I know that at first it's going to suck and it's probably not going to be amazing, but over time, it's just going to be 10 times better than it was before. And that's like the mindset I was going to everything. Whenever I'm building a new funnel, I build a new offer, I'm like, dude, there's no one, like whenever I do another webinar, I'm like, I go into it expecting nobody's going to buy, like nobody's going to pay or buy whatever the heck I'm selling. But like I go into just looking for data and figuring out why they didn't buy so they can buy it next time. And that's like my mindset with everything. And I feel like that really helps because I don't go in with like huge expectations and I start like crying when I don't close a client, or like when somebody says they want to work with me, I'm just like, okay, like great. Why didn't you? And let me make it better for the next person. So that's kind of my thoughts with that.
Awesome. Well, dude, I just want to thank you so much for your time. A lot we managed to unpack in that interview. So yeah, once again, thanks for coming on and sharing your story.
Yeah, appreciate it.